And we are live. Welcome, everybody. It is myself, Mo Crosby, from Earth 2 Comicast, and we are talking Discovery. This is another week of the Discovery discussion, and it's myself and Patrick from Earth 2 and Uncle's Games and Seattle.
Sure.
Right?
Hey, hello, everybody. Here I am, ready to talk Star Trek rather than Rebels today.
Yeah. We still got a couple more days for Rebels.
Yeah.
But so the episode is titled, what was it? The Sanest crap. It's another long one. I know
it's super long. I thought you've made me lazy with all the research you normally do.
I have it. Okay, I got it. Magic to make the sanest man go mad.
Yes.
Usually with Star Trek Discovery titles, you can tell what the title is or how the title ties into the episode. For me, this just was a episode name.
Yeah, it's a quote, right? I thought it was from Alice in Wonderland, but maybe I'm wrong.
If it is, then it's probably a good tie-in to the Discovery discussion. But while Patrick is searching that out, I'll go ahead and talk about some things. Well,
maybe not. I don't know. I thought it was. I just assumed maybe.
One or two things that we missed from last week, with the last week's episode that everyone kind of liked and maybe loved, was we got those disco shirts, those really nice looking disco shirts, and they popped up again this week, and I thought that was a really, really cool thing to talk about.
It's a little weird, disco shirts. They're trying hard, poor Discovery. First you start out, everybody was calling it STD.
Yes.
So that was problematic. And then they were like really trying to push this idea that it's DISC is the abbreviation. I guess disco works. It just also has some interesting 70s music connotations. So
and it's funny that I start off with disco because when we get into the parties, the way this episode starts off, it kind of makes sense. But so that's one of the controversies from last. One of the things we missed because it's not a controversy. Disco shirt.
Did we miss anything else from? I guess the big reveal was that there was people have discovered in an original series episode the Discovery is mentioned. Yes, that happened over this last week, which is a really big deal.
Go ahead and drop that.
Just that somebody had discovered that somewhere in one of the older episodes, like one of the original series episodes, Spock, I think, Kirk says, "Hey, Spock, like call the Discovery and let us know about what we found here." And they just go on and do their thing. Yeah. But the fact that they're like mention that ship was a big deal. I think part of it was
hey, what's going on?
CJ, what's up, man?
Yeah, I didn't know you guys were running late. I had to work late, so I'm like, I'm probably gonna miss it again. And then I go online, I'm like,
we're running real late.
We didn't know we were running late, so
okay, this worked out perfectly.
We're running late because it was my fault. We were supposed to start this off late, and I'm really sorry about running late, guys. Patrick, I'm sorry.
No, it works out.
I'm sorry. We were talking about how.
That was kind of a big deal. We were talking about CJ about how in one of the original series episodes they discovered that Kirk actually tells them to contact the Discovery. So that was kind of a cool little tidbit that got uncovered this week.
So when I put this episode on the website, I will try to see if I can find that screen grab because I think you sent us the screen grab, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
I'll see if I can find the screen grab so I can throw that on the episode so you guys see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Or if later when I edit the video, I can just throw it on here as a, so you guys can see exactly what we're talking about. Yeah. I thought that was a really cool thing.
It's really cool.
It's a thing where people have said, "Oh, Discovery never existed. Why is it here?" And well, now it's a thing. Again, it's a really small thing. It's a sentence. It's a line where you can literally forget. Even the most hardcore Star Trek fan will forget it.
But every time that they would like mention the Enterprise in Deep Space Nine, you got a little excited.
Yes,
so it's nice.
I mean, I got excited just because I wanted Cisco to cuss out Picard again. So
me too.
Because he did.
I always wanted them to be
first episode was off the break.
off the break, he kind of let him have it.
You know all those Star Trek episodes where two people who don't get along are like forced to work together for an episode? I kind of wanted to see that with Cisco, Picard at some point.
Yeah.
That would have made a good movie, actually.
Who you telling?
Yeah.
So that was.
oh, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no! I didn't know if y'all guys were like already starting talking about the episode.
Oh no, we haven't gotten into the episode. We're trying to cover.
Oh yeah, my bad.
We've been trying every week to start with some controversial topic, but what's interesting about this week is
renewal for second season.
A lot of controversy.
I mean, renewal for second season.
Yes, that's right.
True.
That's something that we forgot because that happened last week and we forgot to talk about it.
It happened like right after we recorded last week.
Yeah, man. I gotta be real about this. I was worried. Okay, let me say this. I don't think I was necessarily worried that it wasn't gonna get renewed. I figured it was, because my only reservations was the fact of the way Discovery being on the CBS All Access and Access doesn't really have content like that. I was worried Discovery was gonna flop in a sense of like, okay, nobody's gonna want to look at this anymore. Look at CBS All Access because of Discovery. So the fact that it's getting a second season, that's cool. I wish it was on Netflix instead of CBS All Access.
Sure.
I understand. I know a lot of people that probably after this first season, they're not going to use CBS All Access after this. So, I'll buy the DVD when it comes out.
I think the thing about CBS All Access is it seems like CBS is very, very committed to it.
Yeah.
And they like doubled their numbers, right? Once Discovery launched.
Yes.
So if they are that committed, it would be insane. Like if they did cancel a season 2 of Discovery, then that's really giving up on CBS All Access. At this point, CBS All Access and Discovery's fates are intertwined.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As long as they want people to be paying any kind of money for CBS All Access, they're going to need Discovery.
Yeah. I can see that.
That's very true. And I think, but the thing about it is CBS has had All Access. Like All Access didn't just start.
Yeah, but nobody used it.
Nobody used it. If you wanted to watch old CBS shows, you'd have to go All Access, and nobody wanted to do that. But so that's pretty much all the controversy for last week. And this week, nothing really happened. There's on the internet, there's nobody cussing out Discovery. Usually.
Well, we got a second season, so now everybody's like, "All right, cool. We can give it a chance."
We're in.
I guess we're all in on this now. So it's like, all right,
I have seen. I guess the closest thing to a controversy I have seen is this week, even more than previous weeks. I've seen a lot of Orville versus Discovery comparison going on.
Yes,
well, that's because, and we might end up having an Orville discussion when it gets to like a mid-season or season finale and stuff. Because that show's been another show that like surprised me because, like I said, I'll say the first 2 episodes it was shaky. But if you stuck with it, the show got better for it because it switched up from like you're thinking, oh, it's gonna be la-di-da comedy, and then it's like, oh, this comedy, but then they actually play it serious at times, and it's like, oh, didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But I think the comparisons is kind of unfair to both shows because both shows are doing their own thing in their own space and such.
Yeah.
I mean, because like I
think
said before,
part of the reason the comparison happens, CJ, is because I think Discovery got renewed and Orville hasn't been renewed yet.
Oh, it'll get renewed. Like I said, I feel Orville is going to go for like maybe 3 seasons, maybe 4 tops before they get the Fox screw over. And then,
I was going to say, I don't know if you can count Fox to renew a show.
Oh, that's what I said. 3 seasons tops, and then it'll get the Fox screw over. That's why The Gifted, I'm like, I'm enjoying it, but when are they going to cancel this?
Yeah, but so that was the controversy for Disco this week, but there's nothing. I'm gonna start calling them Disco because those shirts, like,
all right,
once those shirts go on sale, I'm gonna be the first one to buy. I'm gonna buy a shirt when we do our Discovery discussions.
Then you're proving their point, man.
They look so good. What are you talking about? They look really good.
I think of it as because there's no way I can afford those fancy Star Trek costumes, which I actually really like the Discovery costumes.
Yes,
so,
they look really good.
I guess this is like my poor man's Discovery Trekkie costume. So I might buy one too. But
because technically it does work as a costume. Yeah. Again, it's something where you could just throw it on. I mean, because it is on the show. The fact that it's on the show makes it a costume.
It's why Superboy's old costume is like the best costume ever.
Exactly. With the
t-shirt and jeans.
And call it a day. So yeah, this episode I thought was really interesting. So let me like do a quick rundown of the episode. It's one where Harry Mudd, because he's indebted to his girlfriend or the girl he was talking about from the last episode or the last time we saw Harry Mudd. He's indebted to her family, and he feels like the only way for him to get them money is to sell out the Discovery, find out what makes the Discovery work so he can sell it to the Klingons. And so he engages Discovery in this Groundhog Day type thing where he has to go on different missions again to find out what makes Discovery tick, how it ticks, who to so he's done a lot of things, and in doing that we find out that Stamets, because of him being the conduit which the Discovery travels with now at this point, he's able to exist in different timelines. So the fact he knows everything that's going on, he knows okay, so I know that he's existed in every timeline that every time that Mudd has reset the timeline, he's existed. He carries over information every time, so he knows everything that Mudd knows.
Why? All right, I have a lot of. So here's what's interesting. I think this is expectations. I blame myself. I am at fault.
Okay.
So Cause and Effect from Next Generation, which is the time loop episode in Next Generation, is one of my favorite episodes. Like, I love that episode. I don't know that I would watch it all the time, but when it would be like on reruns or whatever, I love that episode. Partially because I just like all the banter while they're playing poker and stuff. So I, knowing that this was going to be a time loop episode, was pretty excited, but I was a little disappointed. What's interesting is what I thought I wanted this whole time was classic Star Trek episodes. And then I got what might have been the most classic feeling Star Trek episode to date for Discovery. And I actually didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. So anyways, my first issue right off the bat is like, why is Mudd letting Stamets run around and do like every episode Stamets is planning and plotting and getting closer to taking down Mudd? Is it just arrogance, or like, why isn't Mudd just first thing when he gets on the ship kill Stamets? That's question number one.
What it looked like, I'm just going off the episode, but what it looked like Mudd didn't realize, or Mudd didn't know Stamets was doing this, or he was existing in and out of the time. Because if he did realize that,
Uh-oh, I lost you guys.
I lost him too for a second.
He said his Wi-Fi is really bad on that side of the house.
Ah, that sucks. Yeah,
are you guys here?
Yeah, I get it.
We're here. We just can't see you.
Oh, okay.
Now
oh, there you are.
There you go.
Oh, okay, great, fantastic. Hey guys, technical difficulties. This happens on a live show, but yeah. What I was saying is when I think I lost my okay.
When
so
Stamets,
according
you're
to
saying that Mudd didn't know Stamets was aware.
Mudd didn't know Stamets was aware, because if he did, he would have put two and two together at the fact that Stamets was, the conduit. He was the reason the spore drive worked, because the reason he kept going over and over and he kept doing this over and over again was to find out how the spore drive worked.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't. And until they finally gave Stamets gave himself up. But if you move past the initial, hey, this is what's going on, this is why that's going on. If you move past all of that, I thought the episode made sense to me. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. But I think what more
I'm gonna let you run through this episode first, and then I'm gonna poke. To me, this episode's like Swiss cheese.
I could poke holes at some logic, and it's more so like
I mean, this isn't, to me, it's not. All right, so I like to, like Anthony was talking about with Rebels, like you have to give some allowance with Star Wars, and it's true with Star Trek too, although I would say it's less so with Star Trek. Like, you have to be forgiving, there's going to be some plot holes and that kind of stuff, but I had some real difficulty completely buying into and believing this episode for about 15 different reasons. So the first one is the Stamets one. The second one related to Stamets actually is that if there's one person you want to have realizing that this loop is happening, it's the chief engineer, right? And Stamets is the chief engineer on Discovery. And if there's one person who should be able to lock Mudd out, knowing Mudd is coming from the computer systems, the entire Enterprise, like,
yeah, you're right.
Every single time he looped, Stamets should have just like changed the freaking password.
But this is where people have a problem with, you know, Discovery. Is again, people have a problem with Discovery making itself about Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And so
that's fair.
They had to make Michael the driving force of, you know, if you make Discovery about Michael, you have to make it a driving force of every episode.
Yeah, so Michael has to solve the problem. It can't be Stamets.
So I see a point where Stamets should have been the one to handle everything. But again, it's a 45-minute show, and if Stamets solves it,
I changed the password. Mudd.
No show, and that's the end of the show. And you know, what do we have next? Filler for the next 30 minutes. But
yeah,
you know, and why I like this episode again, like I said, a problem with the show is the fact that you want to, you know, center it around Michael. But why I like this episode is because they did center it around Michael, and they gave us a reason to actually connect with Michael more. It's like Michael has been struggling with her Vulcan, you know, the fact with her Vulcan, not heritage because she's not Vulcan, with being raised as a Vulcan, being a human being.
And I did like that we got a lot more of that in this episode, because it's been feeling at times almost like she's just a normal human. Yes. And so this episode did show some of her Vulcan side. I did like that.
And it also shows that she's not, again, just like the last episode, she's really having a problem with balancing the emotions. You know, prior to, I'm sure in the 7 years when she was serving on Ascenjo, they weren't at war. So you were just going through normal Star Trek things. Now you have to be at war. You have to do certain things, you know, so emotions definitely come into play. And, you know, with her being the person she is, you know, being raised Vulcan, I believe this episode kind of shows you more of that. And it was also pretty cool to see, you know, okay, so I'm sorry, let me run down the episode. I think I'm talking too much about it. So again, Mudd puts them in this time loop where they go back and forth, you know, he's trying to figure this out. And inside of this time loop, Michael is finding out, you know, Michael is trying to deal with her emotions. And one of the primary emotion in this episode for Michael is love and, you know, connecting to people. Let me not say love, but connecting to people.
Let me just say, if you're on a starship,
she's also embracing her human side. That's what it felt like.
Yes. If you're on a starship and there's ever a power surge, and oh, by the way, the like smartest person on the ship says power surges can't happen on the ship, you might want to take that seriously and not go back to.
If you're drunk.
I did. A lot of people said that this was the first actual party that ever happened in the world of Star Trek.
What?
Well,
no, it's not.
Because most of the parties are like, there's violin music and they're like sipping their, right?
This is the first party where it's like house music. Like
there's actual, the crew is actually having fun and having a party.
Right. Okay,
like even so yes, so they go to a jazz bar to party.
Right.
I'm just saying we're talking about all this. I mean, are we going to talk about the elephant in the room and the fact that Mudd rolled in on a space whale?
I like that.
I mean, I thought that shit was balling as hell, man. I was like, yo.
It's not a fish. Like, okay,
particularly because of the way Lorca handles it. You know what? Lorca sells it for me because Lorca's like, oh my gosh. Do I really have to deal with this right now? Like Lorca is clearly above dealing with space.
He's
fish.
Annoyed. He's annoyed.
Super annoyed. Super annoyed.
What makes it perfect is the fact that again he's like, do we really have to do this? And then in the first time that this happens, it happens to be Michael saying, "Oh, but there's a regulation. We can't." I'm like, and he rolls his eyes like, okay.
Kind of. Do you notice that his reaction with Michael is like, okay, fine, let's do it. But his reaction with Saru is like, Just
Really?
shut up, Saru. Like, there is clearly a difference in how Lorca
respect.
perceives Saru versus Michael.
Yes. I feel like Lorca would rather have Michael be his number one.
Yeah.
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 I wonder if Saru
and-
knows that yet.
I'm pretty sure he does. I'm pretty sure. It's like,
Poor guy.
he's food. What the hell? So yeah, he's so we get, you know, the first, when Mud first comes in, the first time he comes right out of the whale, the space whale, because again, you know, they're in this party, we're having fun in this party, and you know, Michael and Ash are trying, you know, having small talk, and you know, they happen to be called on.
I thought the space whale was awesome. Here's what I'll say. I think the space whale, that's like some Ocean's 11 style.
Yes.
So like, that's like, how am I going to infiltrate this spaceship? I'm going to hide myself and my ship inside of a space whale. Like, that's pretty good.
A space whale that you have you can't ignore.
Yeah.
At this point, because of your regulations, you can't ignore the space whale, so you're gonna let us in. And it didn't matter, you know, every time. Sometimes it changed. It would change how he would come out. But his first entry, when we first meet
people
him,
died fast.
like
Mud can fight.
Pop. Yeah, Mud looked really good. Again, I enjoyed him in the first episode he was in, and I think I enjoyed this episode. His interaction with Saru at one point when he came in and he was like, and he killed the captain. Oh man, like Mud. And then they showed us like at least 15 different times of how he killed Captain Lorca. And
he said he killed him 57 times total.
Yes, but they showed us like maybe 5 or 10.
Yeah. It was a lot.
And then there was the last time. I mean, okay, there was the last time when he had
those crazy orbs that now we know Lorca has.
Yeah. Dark matter orbs, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
But hold on, do we still know Lorca has them?
He didn't. Did Mud get them in the newest timeline?
In the last timeline, no, he didn't.
Okay, so then Lorca would still have
Maybe
them.
he did, or maybe he did and didn't say anything.
And he pocketed them.
I can see
that would be interesting. That would be interesting.
I can see him doing that. Oh man,
me
like
too.
You know. So okay, so we get the love story with Michael that I thought was really funny, and at one point, Stamets is like, "Tell me a secret."
Okay.
I was waiting for her to say I'm a virgin.
You know, see, I wasn't gonna go for that low hanging fruit of that. I was thinking the same thing, but I was like, nah.
If I remember correctly, this is how this goes. Stamets walks up to Michael and gets her attention. Well, this is before that. So first is the secret.
Yes.
And the secret was like the lamest. Like, he could have guessed that. You could probably guess that for most Vulcans.
Yeah,
like,
you can guess that for most Vulcans. It's
that was
not
like
a secret.
Yeah, that was so lame. I was expecting some sort of plot reveal or some interesting backstory, or even
I really
I'm a virgin kid or something like that. Like, I used to beat the crap out of my like half brother when we were growing up, or something like that, right? So
Spock isn't all he is. Like, he's not all that.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that, you know,
Spock's
like another
Spock
Spock
that could have been a big reveal.
But then, you know, so the next time resets, he walks up to her and he goes, "You've never been in love," and she's like, "Why did you say that? Why would you say that to me?"
I know, and she's so quick to like believe.
Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, it's something anyone could have guessed.
This is where it gets really bad. Okay, so this is where I get really frustrated. So he says that, and he immediately says to her, the reason I'm telling you this, and the reason we need to do all this is because we have very little time and we need to act, okay? We need to, like, every minute counts. And the next thing they do is they start dancing. Like, literally the next scene is like, oh, you know, talking about Ash. Oh, will you teach me how to dance? And I'm like, hey, remember just like 5 sentences earlier where you said every minute counts. And they didn't like make it clear that like Stamets had given up on that timeline. So I'm like, stop dancing and like try and save the ship, you guys. So
felt like a random episode of Rick and Morty when they started dancing. I'm like, so this is what we're doing right now?
Yeah, like what's going on? I mean, it was cute. There's even a line from Rent that he puts in there, like about leading and stuff like that. That's great. So that was all cool, but it felt very, I don't know if it was the editing. It felt really jarring to go from like, okay, literally every single second matters.
And
now we're gonna
right
dance.
To them dancing, yeah. And then it jumps to them dancing, and then it jumps to her and Ash dancing. And Ash at this point tells her, "Look," so she tells Ash the situation, and Ash tells her, "Well, he was telling me about a time when he went, he robbed a bank, and he went through the motions like at least 30 times to get everything down, the details down."
He doesn't say that. He just said he robbed a bank, but he just says he knew how to take down all their safeguards and stuff like that.
That's right. And literally while they're talking about it, you see Mud walking up to like a door and then stopping and someone crossing in front of him with their faces. Like what killed me the most. Okay, I like the episode, don't get me wrong, but what killed me the most is everyone on the starship walks with their face down. Like what?
Middle school.
This is 2017 where everyone is looking at their cell phones and crossing the street. This dude is trying to kill everyone on your ship. Like, forget the fact that he's trying to kill. Like, you guys, okay, I'll ask this question. Well, you're Patrick, so you sometimes have to look at your cell phone and walk through your house, right?
I have to do it at work a lot. Yeah.
Do you never look up trying to say, okay, maybe or do you just, I know every corner, or I know how to walk around my house with my face down at this point?
At my house, I'll probably just keep my face down.
Okay, so
but if I'm walking across the street, I might look for half a second, make sure there's no really quiet cars.
So I think maybe that's what they're highlighting, are deadly. Right?
Sounds like it.
Because I'm guessing everyone in Discovery knows the ship at this point, so they can all walk with their faces down, because everyone had their faces down to a tablet, to a piece of paper. No one was paying attention whatsoever. Like Mud literally walks, stops for a second, and someone crosses in front of him. Or walks like.
I don't know.
I mean,
help me understand.
I mean, okay, well.
That actually, of the plot holes, and there are many, that one didn't bother me so much. Like, I never noticed that.
Maybe it's because I live around College Park. I used to live around College Park, and if you're driving through College Park, students are all the time walking with their faces down. So it's annoying to see that. Like, look up. I could run you over.
It's a pet peeve.
The stop sign was all the way back. Yeah, it's a pet peeve at this point. So that just annoyed me.
Can I be real about this? This is something I noticed, and it was something I noticed this particular episode. You start, like, up to this point, you start realizing that a lot of people on that Discovery ship has kind of suffered from the backlash of Michael's actions up to this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's kind of amazing to me they haven't really made any strides to show her interaction with those characters. Because even what's his face? Dude,
they kind of do.
The dude that got injured, got like the facial implants and stuff. I'm like, can we get some interaction with those two? Because I mean,
I think that's coming, CJ, and I think they kind of did this episode at the very beginning. Because at the very beginning, remember, she's just talking to herself and kind of talking about her day on the Discovery and how she literally has only one friend, and they show some of that like animosity. And then also there's the whole Ash part, but then I mean basically they show that she is an island on that ship. So
pretty much
you could argue that in the world of Star Trek, because we're moving towards this utopian society, the way that people deal with you as a miscreant isn't necessarily to like yell at you, and it's like Seattle, man. Everybody's polite. So they don't yell at you, they don't get mad at you, they just ignore you and avoid you. And so I think maybe that's what's going on. But I do agree that I would like to remember how like there was some real nice dialogue when Saru was like eating cherries or whatever,
Yes.
or eating grapes or whatever.
Grapes or something of the sort.
Yeah. And it was just like some nice common dialogue about how people just don't get along with her. And I would like to see a little bit more of that. I agree with you, CJ.
Yeah.
But
also Mud's wife is going to age really, 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 really fast. If this timeline is any indication here, just point that out. Just point that out there. I'm just saying.
Yep.
But to speak on CJ's point real quick, I think the party's the first time we've actually seen some of the crew. Like
that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody walks up to her. Nobody talks to her except
this is again. We just got on the bridge fully last week.
Yeah,
that is going to come because the lady with the implants on her face.
Yeah, we saw more of the android this episode.
Yes, and then there was more of the android this episode. So I feel like all those interactions are coming. The first interaction is with her and Ash, and they try to show that okay, so Michael's gonna get shipped maybe this season. She might get shipped. All of this happens the first time after they almost figure everything out. They come to the bridge, and they meet Mud. Mud is taking over the ship, and he's killed Lorca at this point. And they come into the hold on. Before that, they ambush him in the warp drive, in the spore drive room, and they try to shoot him. And they see now he has a containment field around him, and it's like, oh crap!
Came prepared on Batman prep time.
If only you had a chief engineer nearby. Sorry, go on.
But, he did actually come from behind him and shoot him and stun him, but it was too late. Everything blew up. And then we moved to the next timeline, and he kills the captain. Killing the captain, he
after
killing the
captain on Spy.
After killing Captain Lorca, he then what do you do? After killing Captain Lorca, he then says, "Hey, look, I'm the captain now. Y'all are gonna, you all are gonna listen to me." Ash comes in, and Ash.
DJ, we lose him. There he is.
Yeah, Ash shoots and containment field, and then he kills Ash. And then this is where Michael has almost figured everything out, but she figures out that, I think also, what's his name? Stamets at this point I said, look, I'm going to give myself up. I'm tired of seeing you kill people over and over and again. And
I think he's just bored, man. I'd be bored living the same hour over and over again. That's worse than Groundhog Day. At least you get a full day in Groundhog Day.
It's 30 minutes. One more thing we have to one more thing I have to highlight is we are getting to see more and more of a different Stamets from episodes 2
I'm
and
starting
3,
to wonder if
4.
it is like it seemed really clear. They did that whole weird thing with the mirror, and I was like, it's Mirror Universe Stamets. I'm not convinced it's Mirror Universe Stamets, or if it's just mushrooms getting him high, or I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going on.
He might just be high as fuck at this point. But yeah, no, seriously. He's just so different from what we know as Stamets, but we're seeing more and more of that. And then, like you said, he was like, look, I'm just tired of seeing you kill everyone. I'm just going to tell you what's going on. This is why. Exactly. So
yeah,
he comes in and boom. So we get that. And then we move on to, we now see Michael say, dang, like you just killed this guy that I think I have a connection to.
I think,
other than Billy, because again, she's logical. So she's also trying to figure out the emotions. So she's like, I think I have a connection to him. And, before all of this happened, they kissed after dancing. So we got that kiss and boom. So we move forward. And so she's like, I am just as important to you. They're going to probably pay you more for me than they will give you for the ship. So if you add all of that together, all your debt, whatever, will get canceled out. And nobody knew about the debt at this point. But she's like, everything will get, you'll be good. So she swallows some orbs and dies. And he's like, crap, now I got to reset the timeline again. He resets the timeline. They figure everything out at this point. After figuring everything out, they're like, okay, we're going to kind of give ourselves up. We're going to go into, we're going to act like we're doing this with him. We're going to sell it. And they did. They sold it really well. And except no one dies this time, and he destroys the armband, whatever crystal that's helped them, reset time. And he calls the Klingons, and he thinks the Klingons are here, but we find out that it's his girl that he didn't go, he didn't get sold into whatever, indentured servitude he said he got sold into. He actually ran away from her after scamming them.
Yeah, he basically he married into the family for money.
Basically.
Yeah, he's
hell of a come up.
Right. So and somehow the girl's still in love with him. The girl's father's like, look,
whatever.
It's unfortunate. Yeah, it's like, I hate the fact that she's in love with you, but she's my daughter, and if she thinks you make her happy, I want my daughter to be happy, so forget this. I forgive you.
So bad.
I thought that was kind of cheesy.
All right, so
but again, and so the episode ends with
here's another issue.
Let me finish.
Hang on. Here's another issue. Do you really think that to the Klingon Empire or Klingon clans, whatever they are right now, that Michael is more valuable than the Discovery?
I don't buy it.
No,
no way.
Not at all. I mean, maybe they want revenge, but I don't think it's like,
no way.
Oh, so much so that, no.
All right. And then Mudd, like, now knows pretty much every secret about the Discovery. Everything, right? Like, we established the dude knows, and really about any Federation ship. Probably. At least any Federation ship that has a design similar to the Discovery in the slightest. Right? And they just let him go? They just let him, and he killed, granted, nobody dies in the final timeline, but he still took over. If I went down to a naval shipyard and I took over an aircraft carrier, and then I brought the aircraft carrier back to port after I did some joyriding in it, you think the U.S. Navy would be like, oh, no, haha, it was all for laughs, whatever.
No, you're dead.
Yeah, man. Like, what?
You're either dead or you're in the
going
break.
to jail for life in a dark hole where I can't share my thoughts.
Oh, what the hell is going on? Why are you up so late?
Oh my god! What is going on? Actually, like I'm confused. What just happened?
I just got in my car. I got the movie like an hour ago. Decided to go get a drink with little cousin. And then I was like, and I saw something. Patrick was like, Anthony, jump in. I was like, they can't be talking this late. They can't be talking this late.
It started late. That's why.
Y'all.
It started late.
Y'all in that Seattle time tonight. Y'all like, hey Patrick, man, you've been catering now for a minute.
I was gonna say it's only 8:00.
Hey, I gotta admit though, if since Anthony's here, and actually it goes to y'all the two, death by throat lozenge. How do you feel about that?
Wait a minute. Throat what?
Throat lozenge.
You're talking about the orbs?
The orbs.
I mean, he said it's the most painful way to possibly die.
She took it because she's in love with
Michael's credit. One thing to Michael's credit. She's the only one who, being with that Vulcan raising and stuff, does not care about dying over and over and over and over again. Because if it was me, you can tell me the timeline's going to reset. I still ain't going to. I ain't gonna die. I'm gonna be fighting every single timeline to my bitter end.
I would be skeptical. I'd be like, what you mean? You want me to let me just die?
You want me to believe just because some guy told me I've never been in love?
Right. hey, if you came to Anthony in his 20s, be like, hey, man, you had never been in love. I was like, good observation. Party on. So I guess you guys have covered.
We just finished the summary, Anthony.
Oh, we just finished the summary. Now, we're gonna go into.
Okay, I got an hour and 20-minute drive ahead of me, so.
I don't think we got an hour and 30 minutes for you, Anthony.
Yeah. So
I guess you can.
Did y'all give your initial reactions already?
So I guess you can kick it off since you just got on.
Oh, so I gotta say, and believe me, I'm someone that kind of is tired of the time loop trope of Star Trek. But I love this episode. And you know what? I feel like they was like, you know what? Anthony talking shit again. Let's play a Y Club track.
No, because I love it too. I love it too.
Okay.
I didn't like this episode.
Oh, see? But you know what, Patrick? I'm a little biased because as soon as I heard that "Staying Alive," I was like, yeah, you got that Y Club. So y'all ain't gonna say this classical? What's that usual Star Trek line about this being classical music? Nope, don't get that. Drinking, partying, some drunk white girl trying to pick up some black guys. I got you.
I was telling them earlier, a lot of people have been saying, Anthony, this is the first actual party to ever happen in Star Trek.
It is. I'm telling you, we are going to see nipple in this Star Trek. We are going to see nipple. It's going to happen. You ever see official Vulcan sex? You're about to. It's gonna happen with this show.
It's going to be Vulcan sex, quiet and logical. Boom.
Yeah, kind of like English sex. So
there you go.
No, but yeah, I love the time loop episode. It was great to see the captain kind of like frustrated and killed every time. Mud is growing on me. I don't think he's the same character from the original series, but I like this version. And I also like that they just. Oh, it kind of felt anticlimactic that the engineer guy is just out of time and we're just going to accept this now because we didn't get anything before this. But I'm good with it. I think I like this whole episode. I am trying to nitpick and I can't because I'm still smiling. Continue.
All right, so CJ, do you want to go? Like, what's your initial reaction to the episode?
Like I said, I enjoyed the episode. I think my only hangups was just trying to figure out how the time loop technology actually works, because it's like, and maybe y'all guys can answer it. Like, okay,
no, that's also a problem. So first of all, I like the idea of weaponized time looping. Like that's cool. That like taking what happened in cause and effect in TNG and then like using it as a weapon. That's cool. But it was a little overly convenient that like suddenly there's this point in time where they rejoin the time stream and then the device just disappears. And if he's used this thing before to like rob a bank, I don't totally get that either. So like
So I think they explained it well that he stole it from a fourth dimensional being. We've seen other beings from other dimensions and time streams come to regular one, and I could see Mud swindle him out of it. So I feel like that one explanation fixed it. I even like the space whale, even though I feel like the space whale thing is a really big thing in any other Star Trek. Like, oh my gosh, a being in space. But I don't know. I feel like him stealing it from a fourth dimensional being meant that it wasn't easily accessible.
But don't you think it's a little overly convenient that it just like disappears the moment? Because the obvious answer for Mud was once things go wrong again, like once he realizes, he can't con a con man and he gets conned, he just rewinds time, right?
Oh, no,
but
I get what you're saying. Why didn't he just start the loop right then?
Well, why in the world does the thing just like blow up on his wrist after a certain point?
And if he used it before,
yeah,
you're right. Okay, never mind. Nitpick accomplished.
No, you see, okay. All right. So the thing about the time loop is, like you said, he'd used it before. So it's something he was comfortable using. It's something he had used before. I think when you can't do something of that nature without saying you've done it before. Because if it just happened that, okay, this is the first time he's using it, then I would have a problem with it. Again, you have
it's
to
not
be
that.
able to,
it's just the plot convenience. Like to me, it's lazy writing.
The problem is
when the thing you are using to win just disappears the moment the plot no longer needs it to exist, or actually needs it to not exist.
Because if you use it to rob a Betazoid bank, a telepathic bank system and with all those different mechanisms, like if this was real, right? Why wouldn't you have it on your wrist all the time? And the minute something went wrong, just rewind 30 minutes. How did you get captured by the Klingons? How did any of this stuff happen, really? And then the moment this stopped, it disappears. That is pretty convenient. Fuel system, and he had a bunch of crystals, and that particular crystal disintegrated.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. I think Look, I like the episode. That's it. That's all I got.
I wanted to like the episode. This episode should have been my episode. That's what I've been trying to say. Is like this episode was very classic Trek. Like you could see this happening with a different crew, right? Like you could see somebody doing this on Deep Space Nine or on Next Generation or anything, right?
We ain't gonna see the drunken frat party.
Well, yeah. If it would have been on TNG, there would have been some violin music or something. But like the plot could have happened on any other TNG. The time loop thing is like one of my favorite things actually in Star Trek. I know a lot of people don't like it. I understand that you can't show too much repetition because it's just darn boring. That's why people who don't like the time loop episode of TNG, they say the reason they don't like it is it's like you're watching the same episode like 4 times or whatever. Which I can understand.
Time is broken very easily in the Star Trek universe.
It's true.
Like it's broken fly around the sun. Wait, that ain't made any goddamn. All right, fine. Oh, you tripped and you fell through a portal. What? Like, Anthony, you woke up and you're just in a time loop.
What do you think about the fact that Stamets is the chief engineer? He's the one person who knows what's going on, and he can't lock down the stupid ship.
Yeah, I don't understand. You are. Let that happen to Geordi.
It's Mirror Stamets. It's Mirror Stamets.
Let that happen to Geordi or Scotty. That ship is not functional anymore. Like, I know you're going to take over the ship. All right, protocols. There is no way. I don't know. I don't know.
So,
damn it, Patrick. I had no complaints. Patrick.
I know. Me neither. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, now I'm like so confused about the episode. But hold on. Let's see like this. Do you think, again, because with Stamets giving himself up, do you think it had happened so much and he had tried, to block him so many times that he's like, you know what, at this point, I don't care anymore. Let me get some help.
So you're saying Stamets, the chief engineer, was outsmarted by Mud?
No, not outsmarted. I mean, every time, not necessarily outsmarted.
And then he went.
Stamets
I can't watch. Right. And then he was like, I can't watch this anymore. I can't watch you killing more people. Here, use this. Like, what? You just guaranteed everybody's permanently dead now. You're supposed to like what?
I think he was just tired. Like
But he just got help.
Imagine, but then the captain died. Ash died. I mean, someone else could have died.
You don't like any of those people. Maybe if it was his boyfriend.
Again, this is another reason why I think it's Mirror Stamets, because again, it's like this is not regular Stamets behavior. Stamets would have been like, okay, kill everybody. Stamets, I know from episodes 3 and 4 would have been like, okay, kill everybody. I don't care. Like
I don't know what
Orca.
That Stamets would have done, but I just felt like if this Stamets is who we think he is, like it's very weird that he was outsmarted. So it would have helped if there had been like some sort of little push on how Mud, maybe he did something on his computer system inside the whale before Stamets would know he was on the, I don't know, some sort of thing so that it made sense. That
if this time he had the gun to his boyfriend's head and then said, "Oh, well, I'll just kill this guy," he's like, "No, it's this one," and you're like, "All right, I get that," because now you're seeing your boyfriend. Yeah. But this time he was like, "I can't watch you kill any more people." Like, what do you mean? You've seen this 100 times. You know that in 30 minutes it all gets rewound until you figure out a solution.
It's like Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe I'm a little bit of a cold bastard. You ought to just died again until we figure this out.
Here's my third problem, Anthony.
Okay,
Mud.
So he
does all this stuff. He does all this stuff, and then they just like give him to a shrew wife. That's his penalty, his payment.
Yeah, I thought that too. I was like, oh, damn it, Patrick. All right, so I was looking at that. I was like, this is his punishment. Oh, he's gonna go live with a rich wife and an overbearing father until that father dies and he leaves him the inheritance of all his fortune. I will take what he's having. So, and she's hot. And she's a hot wife. Oh, he has commitment issues? His punishment is being married because he has commitment issues? No.
I think they just wanted him off. They just said, you know what, we just want you off, so go away. We don't feel like dealing with you anymore. Like, just get out of here.
But he tortured them 100 times.
Also, Discovery is not your typical Starfleet ship crew captain. It's not the typical thing. They probably handle things a little different.
Wait. It's not the typical thing. It's super top secret technology. And they just sent the guy who knows all that top secret technology to just, like, go do whatever. Just make sure your wife is with you.
This is probably why Discovery, again, doesn't make it into Deep Space Nine or TNG.
Oh, they should have shot him in the head.
I know, right?
But this is why, I mean, I can imagine if that happened with Cisco. Like, oh no, Cisco would have beat the stuffing out of him.
No, Cisco at least would have locked him up. Like Cisco wouldn't have did the cutie like, oh, you're just with an overbearing wife. What the hell, man? You just said marriage. That's marriage. his punishment was marriage.
Especially with the fact that Cisco lost his girl in like the first episode of his. No way. But I mean,
Bud killed the whole ship 100 times, and his punishment was marriage. Carry on. I got nothing to add to this.
No, but there's so many little things in this show, especially in this week's episode. But overarching story is why I like this episode. Not necessarily like the little things. Like, to me, yes, sending Mud away to go live with his wife,
rich wife.
It's kind of like a cop. You know, it's like, wow, like,
rich
really.
Rich hot wife.
Also, his console disappearing, like, boom, poof, we don't need you anymore. Going like, that's a thing. But the overarching story, which is again Michael's feelings and emotions, like, I thought that was really good. It was a really good thing to tell.
That was my problem. So they're trying to tell this story about Michael's overarching emotions. I'm all for that. I want that story to be told. And especially like the whole thing with her and Ash, like, I want to see what's going on there. But the problem is that story they're trying to tell is being told in a narrative where every second is supposed to count. Right. It's the story they're trying to tell with her whole like emotions and stuff doesn't match with the plot of like, oh my gosh, every minute counts. Oh, now we're gonna dance, right? Like they could have told that story in a different situation, like while they're like on a planet or something like that. Right. This felt like, to me, like it should have been like, you know, like the movie Speed, man. Like, oh my gosh, we got to figure this out. We only have 30 minutes. Quick, you do this. You go here. We're going to do this. All right. Oh, we failed this time. Let's try it again. Okay, you go here. You do this. Like, that's kind of what I expected out of the episode, I guess, is like, by the time I got to the second or third run.
So, Patrick, I'll ask you,
like dancing.
Instead of all the time loops you got, how many time loops do you think would have been appropriate for the show and would have been appropriate to tell the story?
It's not that I don't need to see more time loops, but I didn't understand. I guess I needed more clarity when they were giving up on a loop. Okay. Right?
Well, I think if Michael was the one that was out of time and her falling in love with Ash might have been a thing, but Michael's not in love with Ash. Michael's just attracted to Ash.
No,
Michael doesn't know who Ash is.
And Stamets keeps having to like explain their relationship to them. I agree. Actually, if Michael had been the one aware of the loop, it might have been more interesting, kind of. And the worst line to me in the whole thing is like, it's a shame we missed our first kiss. You're standing next to each other, kiss each other.
Right.
But it's awkward at that point. It's like,
bad boy, keep the status quo line for a little while longer. You know what I mean? That was the out. Like, you got to say something like, "Oh, but you can't do it now because we still need to keep that Lois and Clark kitchen going."
Exactly. You can kiss at that point.
Yeah. So it was a cop out, but it was a storyline cop out because she can't fall in love in 2 episodes. Like, when didn't he come last week? Didn't he just get on the ship last week?
2 weeks ago, Anthony. 2 weeks ago. Well, he got on the ship 2 weeks ago. He was fully
2 weeks ago.
He got promoted last week.
2 weeks ago. Last week they had their first real sit down 2 conversations.
Lunch. Yeah.
And then the thing was, you've never been in love.
No. But apparently in the beginning of this episode they have a thing where time has passed.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I'm getting pulled over.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, never mind. They passed me.
About to say, live recording of Anthony being pulled over. Oh, jeez.
Oh, no.
this is great.
That
This
did
is
not.
so great.
You could have had the
actually-
conversation with the cop on the podcast. Just don't tell him what you're doing. Just
Hey, guy, we're
Yeah,
talking about
yeah.
Star Trek. It's awesome, right? Right?
Not telling what I'm doing. Not telling what I'm doing. I'll be like, officer, this is my white friend. Like,
I'm like, you know, you can go. You can go.
like
You
he
can go.
lives in Seattle. Seattle.
oh, I got a niece from Seattle. Oh, da, 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 da.
Yeah. All right, continue.
Anthony, if you realize in the beginning of this episode, time had passed, or you know, she's giving her log. She has a log, and time has passed between last week's episode and this week's episode. So there's been
How much time?
They didn't tell us.
I don't think they tell us, but they do kind of show because the episode opens with her just like going through her day to day. Like
Exactly.
she's gotten into a routine. This is like basically they were trying to show the period of time when everybody's watching Seinfeld on the bridge. Like basically nothing had been going on for a little while, other than some attacks on Klingons or something.
I thought they had three. I thought they had two interactions. The
No,
one
there was
thing
more.
we saw, and then they went and did a weapons check or something. They
They
said.
had one pseudo date. Yeah, they had like one sort of having lunch together or dinner together thing, and that was it.
I mean, that we know of at this point.
Yeah.
There was like
It didn't
just the
show
two of
everything.
them.
Yeah. And she highlighted the fact that again she has only one friend. So this is a time episode. You can call it that. It's a time episode, but again, this is one where all of these things happen, and you know we get this bigger story in this, told in this stretch of time. And to Patrick's credit, why I think if you want to drive that story, why don't you use a different person, a different point of view, so I can understand that. Because
here's
again,
what I love about this episode on a meta level is that it shows us that we are going to get some more episodic style episodes where every single episode isn't going to be moving forward the like big major plot, and that actually makes me happy because I do want some episodes like this that kind of stand on their own.
I kind of wish that this episode had taken place later in the season or next season, though, because like we just saw Mud 2 weeks ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was locked up in a Klingon prison, and then he orchestrated finding a rare well, putting a ship inside of a rare well, knowing where the Enterprise was.
That could be a problem, Anthony. That could be a problem of the fact that they thought when they made the first season that they were only going to do one season, which we can kind of talk about in a bit. But the fact that we've been renewed for 2 seasons, that's exciting because now they know they're like a show that's going to stay on the air. But when the plots for the first season were written, the idea was this was going to be an anthology show where there was going to be one season on Discovery, and then next year there would be like season 2 would not be on Discovery. It'd be a different crew, different ship, different everything. And so
that scares me.
Yeah, well, because of that, I'm sure they tried to cram a lot of things into this season. Whereas had they known they had more space, they might have been able to do what you're describing.
So what you're saying now to me scares me because it kind of reminds me of Lost. Like Lost was supposed to be 2 seasons, and then they were like, no. People like this. Let's push it out as many as we can. And then the plot no longer made sense. So it sounds like before they had a beginning, middle, and end. And now we're going to get
They still have a beginning, middle, end. It's just the beginning, middle, end is going to be this season. And then we'll get another season where either they'll do another beginning, middle, end, or it's just going to be open-ended. We don't know. But it's kind of like if Lost had only been a single season, I guess.
See how it rolls. I think
I'm excited. I'm excited to see where they go. But yeah, you're right. It does feel kind of crammed. It feels kind of like congested. But again, it probably because it has that problem because it's supposed to be a bigger thing.
I feel bad because Mo loves this
felt
episode,
short.
and I'm trashing on it.
I really do, and you guys.
I like this episode.
Like,
I just
can't even say anything
have
about
problems.
Hey,
like I'm trying to defend the episode, and then you guys are raising points that are valid, and I'm like, oh.
So I have a question. There's
Shoot.
there's 2 cyborgs on the ship, right? One with this girl with like this metal interface, right?
One.
There's one, I guess, one cyborg and one android.
And one, yeah, Android, yeah.
Oh, that's an android?
Yeah.
Mhm. The full
The
metal lady?
android's already really popular in fandom, and I think they've said on like one of the after treks or something, I don't know, I didn't watch it, but that there was going to be an episode later where we got more on the android.
Have an android on the ship?
Yeah. Data 0.50.
0.5.
Okay. So I did notice that the chick with the metal thing in her face, she was on the bridge of the old ship, right? When my
Correct.
Without,
Yes, she was.
the,
Yes, she was.
without the implant.
Without the implant.
Been busy with somebody in the corner. I like
Hey,
that.
man, everybody.
Of course, that's what you noticed.
This episode, but this episode again, just if people have a problem about Discovery straying from Star Trek lore, this episode strays so far, and especially in that party scene where it's like,
That party scene is more
like-
non-Star Trek than the cussing 2 episodes ago, but nobody's angry
Yes.
about a party scene.
that's so, because
You know
they
why?
saw it because
it humanizes Star Trek humans. Because again,
I agree. I'm just saying, people need to chill out.
Because like all of Star Trek, we've seen humans that are supposed to be evolved humans. Gene Roddenberry wrote humans that were not us. Like they were pretty much Homo superiors in a way. Like you kind of identify with them, but their moral code and what they found disgusting and how they interacted and everything like that was more evolved than our current social norms, right? So this Star Trek and Enterprise, in a way, these are humans we can relate to in a way. You know what I mean? Like they cuss, they have problems with each other. There's ego, there's prejudice, there's you know what I mean? There's drunken frat parties where you're probably having random sex with somebody and then regretting it the next day and having work problems. So there's all that in this Star Trek, which I kind of say is kind of, in a weird way, refreshing, I guess.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I'm on board with that. And I think it's cool the way they say that's going to bridge into the world we see later on with the original series. So I'm excited about that.
You know what I would have liked, though, now that you told me this would be an anthology series, is I would have liked to see, like, Discovery would have been fine. I would love to see something on, if Discovery is a Section 31, I'd love to see something on Section 31. And then it would have been cool to see some plot threads, like, from the other series, wrapped up. You know what I mean? Like Geordi's mom, or, hell, did Cisco come back? like, that'd have been cool in a way that I think now we're just going to get a regular Star Trek series.
I doubt they would have done that, though, Anthony. I think the next anthology would have just been a different time period or different career or whatever. I think this is going to be fine because it's Star Trek, right? And so it's not like there aren't plots for them to explore after the kind of Klingon War plot. And it might be that Michael is more established and that's like not a thing anymore. But I think it'll also open up some of what because one of the problems we've been having is how Michael-centric the show is. A Michael-centric show makes more sense in a single season show. It's not going to work once they get past the first season. They're going to have to develop other characters more because there's just you run out of story to tell.
Like metal-faced pretty girl with the haircut. Make it out in the corner. So, yeah, I feel like I still don't know the crew. Like, I've only known the crew through Michael's perspective. Like, if this was Game of Thrones, every chapter would be Michael.
But we just got on the bridge.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I like the series, obviously. I don't want to sound like I'm bashing it every time. I just want to... I think one of the things I like about Star Trek is the ensemble cast. I like that I know everybody that's on the ship, and I really we're how many episodes in at this point?
6,
Seven?
7,
Six?
7.
Okay.
I know Michael, Haru, Emergency Ration, and the captain.
The cyborg girl is named Kayla, and the android is named Ariam.
There we go. Names right there for you, Anthony.
There you go.
I'm curious about the android because, as far as we know, Data was the first android to serve in Starfleet. So,
Well, maybe it's just an implant.
and I'm saying these guys have obviously done their research. have obviously done their research, because they have pulled so much stuff from the animated Star Trek series, which no one ever does, that I am so impressed. I just want to know what their explanation is. That's all.
They have been. I think they used the animated series as a source to get a lot of good plot points and tie-ins without having to deal with the general knowledge that comes with original series. Because if you tie in to a lot of original series stuff, everybody immediately knows it. I think they used animated series as a way to kind of like grab some of the original series stuff without it being as widely understood and known.
And people can't
that's
say
why
it's
a
not,
lot of people have. Yes.
People can't say it's not canon. Like, people can say, "Oh, that's not canon." Oh, wait, because that's how people arrogant about the holodeck, and I was like, "No,
Yep.
the holodeck was first introduced in the animated series." Touche. Like, so I don't know. I feel like Patrick's right. Like, it's a way, and I bet you that if we saw Netflix ratings, I bet you a lot more people have gone back to the animated series to check those things out.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure. This episode did somehow feel short for some reason. It just felt shorter than the other ones to me.
it did. It felt really short. I agree with that.
Short. And that's why I feel like there's not much for me, even like, because whenever I'm doing a rundown of the episode, I feel like I'm talking so much about it. I felt like I just covered this episode in like 5 minutes.
Well, it is
short.
a time loop, so the same thing happens over and over.
I guess that's what kind of shortens the episode down for us, is the fact that that pretty much is
also, they had to save money. They saved money on this episode too. They had to save money.
Yeah, because you don't have to show Discovery.
Hey, that's not it. We gotta talk about the preview for next week.
Yes.
It seems like somebody's gonna die.
No, when I said I guess that's it, I meant that's it for this episode.
Somebody's gonna die, it looked like.
Hopefully, Anthony, you saw the preview for next week. I hope you did. I'm praying that you did.
I did not. Could someone explain it to me?
Oh, man.
We're finally going to a planet. So it's like a planet visiting episode. Somebody definitely dies. We see another spaceship, like another Federation ship for a brief moment. So I can't remember what else, but somebody. Oh, and Saru like totally freaks out, and like lights are like shooting out of his eyes and crazy stuff, right?
Yes.
He like
talks about the,
he like goes saying
talks
or
about
something.
the fact that he was bred. They were bred for fear, or like all his life, all he knows is fear. Like, yes, it's
it seems like a really Saru-centric episode.
You know what?
Yes.
You know what? I bet you. You know how like fear in animals here like spoils the meat. That's why you want to kill them without them knowing it. I bet you fear in his species make it delicious. It seasons the meat. oh, emergency ration. God, this whole series needs to end with him being eaten. It all needs to be end with him being eaten. Oh, look.
Buffet table.
I feel like if that ever really did happen, you would love the show. You'd be like all here for it.
I don't care if the humans eat them. I don't care if Klingons eat them. I kind of hope Michael eats them. Either way, just leave it all of them. Like, eat an arm. Eat an arm. She don't like them. She don't really like them. Just eat an arm.
That's rough. That's rough.
Be stranded on the planet. There's no more food except for food.
Except for food.
Emergency ration. Walking around in uniform.
Anyways, next week's episode looks like... Is this the last episode we have before the break?
I think so.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, because
the last one
originally that would have meant this was supposed to be the last episode, and then for whatever reason they extended it one more episode before the break. So whatever is happening in the next episode seems like big stuff.
So let me ask you this. So we're not going to get new Star Trek for like a year and a half after this is done, right?
So
we're not going to get what?
So we have another half of this season that's like after Christmas time, like after January. Okay. And then we don't get any more Star Trek for like 2 years before season 2, because it takes them like 9 months for every episode or something stupid. Like, because of the budget and all the stuff that goes into making these episodes compared to regular Star Trek, they can't just churn them out. It takes a really, really long time for them to make every episode.
And they didn't prepare to make multiple seasons, right?
They were unsure. They had already made the decision by air date that they were going to do multiple seasons. Like, they decided, hey, we really like the crew, we really like kind of the synergy we've created. Like, we think this can be more than just a 1-season sort of thing. But they didn't know if it'd be successful. Like, they didn't know if they were going to put this on CBS All Access and like 4 people signed up, and then they'd be like, okay.
So 2 questions. One, if a 2-year break happens with this show, are you going to be like super excited when it comes back? So far.
Yes. So far, from what we've gotten, yeah, it's a yes from me. CJ?
TJ gone.
Yes, not. So I think it's a yes across the board. I would be really excited when if it does come back. When it does come back, I'll be excited. Again,
I am honestly the most excited about like season 2. When we get out from under this meta plot, anthology plot, like I'm excited to see the show. You know how every Star Trek suffers under season 1? And like for Next Generation, it was because everybody was fighting with each other and hated each other and stuff like that, all the writers. And then like Deep Space Nine, it was because it was like there were ratings issues and people weren't sure it was going to work out. And
they were trying to be like Next Generation, and it wasn't.
And Voyager actually went through a similar thing. So every Star Trek has had like their first season, and then obviously Enterprise had that horrible theme music. So every generation has had their issue. But I think that if this goes the distance, we're going to look back on the first season of this as not being all that awesome. But the reason we'll look back on it as not being as awesome as it eventually becomes is because it was constrained by this idea that it was supposed to be an anthology originally. And that once they get out from under that, they can like kind of open up the whole show to like do more, I feel like.
I would
have
say
a question.
I'd have to look back and say that I have to look back at the original series, but this is up there as the best, one of the best first seasons.
That's what I was going to say.
It definitely is one of the best first seasons. I think it can be even better, though. That's what I'm trying to say.
But
so do you think? I'm sorry.
No, Mo, it's your show, Mo. Go ahead.
Okay.
He's not sure sometimes.
Everyone should be allowed to talk. What the question I was going to ask is, so because of the way this thing is set up, because of the way Star Trek is set up, and we're going to have that break, do you think we're going to get reshoots that will change certain things?
I think everything is already locked in place, honestly. I don't think.
Yeah, I think they're already editing. I don't think there will be reshoots. They did know at some point, maybe even towards the last couple of episodes, that they weren't doing the anthology thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that when the original like story was written out, you know, and they wrote the scripts and everything around that time, they thought they were doing this whole anthology thing. But then what's his name? Is it Brian? I can't think of his name. Brian Fuller. After he left, that was part of the reason. One of the reasons he left is because they weren't going to do anthologies.
Interesting. That's crazy.
So the minute Discovery's over, are y'all all just dropping All Access?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Yes. What do I do? Like even
definitely
when it's over for season 1 on the break to season 2,
but they know
I'll drop it to pick it back up. I think
I saw CBS like basically said we know, like they're not like dumb. They know that's going to happen. So they have to, like they're saying, the interview I saw is like they're working on other content so that eventually, not yet, but maybe like say by season 2 of Discovery, the moment Discovery is over, something else starts up. So that there's always something to try and keep you, but they know. But this is a test in some ways to see if people would even do it. Because had they launched this and nobody even signed up for All Access, much less like signed up then quit, but like just didn't even sign up, that's a very different situation for them.
And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think I was gonna sign up for a Star Trek. I love Star Trek, but I was like, I gotta sign up for online, and a whole subscription for one show,
But it's crazy how certain people have signed up just to bash on the show, not to watch.
Yeah, what's up with that?
That's
paying to hate something.
They're paying the money. Like, it's amazing. I wouldn't do that. Anyway, that is Discovery for the week. That was amazing. This is, I think, our shortest episode yet. Not really sure, but I think this is our short one for us. One for coming and talking Star Trek Discovery. The name of the episode again is "Magic to Make the Sanest Man Mad." You know, coming from last week's episode was Lathe, and then we have another lengthy episode.
It's probably like one writer likes really short names for his episodes, another writer really likes long names for his episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mo, you started somewhere today, didn't you?
Yes. So before I came on to do Discovery, I had so much time, and I jumped on draw for the Squadcast. So I Squadcasted today. I was on
Was
the
Anthony
Squadcast.
on there, or did you pretend to be Anthony?
No, I pretend I was filling in for Anthony. I was like,
nice.
They were like, they were looking for a sub, and they said, "Hey Mo, would you like the sub?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Tag me in."
And at the end, were they like, you know what? We don't actually need Anthony anymore.
That's exactly what happened.
Is that my login got revoked? My login got revoked? Is that what's going on?
They didn't even talk to you. That's cold. That's cold. They didn't even talk to you. They're just like,
so it was
nope.
It was a fun episode. It was a really fun episode to do. It was a topics, I think, weekend recap or weekend topics thing that you guys do over there. But yeah, I will definitely feature that episode on the website. So when that drops, that's coming on the website. So earth2cc.com is where you can find a lot of our centralized content.
There's a Halloween episode today, right?
Halloween episode that dropped today because Halloween is tomorrow, and you guys will probably be too busy to watch that episode, so I dropped that today. That and Comic-Con stuff is coming up maybe next week in time for the Runaways. I know CJ and myself are trying to, put it on around that time.
So did everybody see Thor? Everybody see Thor yet?
Not me.
What?
Not me.
Thor, yeah.
I
have my Thor review up on the website, so you can check it out.
Oh, y'all
fast.
talked about it?
Fast.
I know I'm a week late. I didn't know y'all already talked about it. That's okay. I didn't want to talk about what y'all
We
about it.
It was just my review.
Like we saw it last Thursday, and I put up our review like that Saturday and stuff. So I mean,
So Earth 2's review, not a discussion, just a review, because I think the discussions for Thor and maybe Stranger Things will be done by
next week.
Sam over on JVS next week. When everyone,
I know for us
it's
it's
out.
week, but
All right, I gotta go, guys. I gotta.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick, for joining Earth 2.
Anthony,
CJ,
thanks for showing up, man.
CJ, go ahead and plug if you want to plug.
I need a job now because Mo took mine.
So you're here, but you're here and for this and Rebels, so we're good. You don't need to do anything over on Draw.
Oh yeah. Anymore. Hey, actually, one of my close friends just sent me a message saying that the new Rebels episode is amazing. So
I can't wait to see it.
They dropped it 2 at a time now.
Next week.
They dropped another 2, so cool.
All right.
Okay,
cool.
So thank you guys for coming. This was Discovery Discussion. I'll see you guys next week.
All right.